My physio says I've got to get stronger, but it's not even a muscle problem. Now, this is something that obviously is misinterpreted by a lot of people that I see. When most people talk about strength training, they're thinking muscles and building muscle strength. And the reality is, although that is true, and that's still true in the physio context, because there is obviously plenty of reason to build more muscle and get stronger around joints and for the purposes of that as well. But also, when we put load through the body, it doesn't just put load through muscle. And we know this, and this is what we're actually trying to achieve. We want the various tissues that are relevant to the injury or are the injury to get stronger and more resilient, because at the end of the day, getting whatever the tissue is stronger, so say it's a tendon injury, we want that tendon to become stronger and more resilient to take more load without irritation and pain. So therefore, loading that structure would strengthen that structure, so it would be strengthening the tendon. And that would be the same as obviously strengthening the muscle. And the same goes for bone. If we have someone with osteoporosis or something along them lines, osteopenia, then we want to strengthen the bone. Once again, exercise and loading is going to strengthen the bone as well, and that may well be what we're trying to target when we give strength training. There's another concept as well, which is a big one actually, and that's the actual nervous system's resilience. So the sensitivity of that nervous system. What we want to do is we want to add load and progressively strengthen and build tolerance of the nervous system towards a movement and a load and an activity. So if there is a movement which is sensitized, we need to desensitize that, and we don't do that by avoiding that, we do that by building into that. So we progressively load strength therefore into that sort of component. Now, it's not obviously strengthening in the pure sense of the word, but it is still strengthening the nervous system's resilience to that load. So it's still technically strengthening, and the process would be the same as it would be going in the gym trying to train for muscle. Obviously, it's just got to be monitored based on tolerance and working within that sweet spot, your rehab sweet spot, and then building that tolerance up over time. So all structures are adaptable. Tendon, ligament, muscle, bone, even the nervous system. And I've even done videos on this before where it shows that loading tendon makes tendons get better. Loading joints makes joint get better. We've seen that loading into even the cartilage actually encourage cartilage to stimulate a little bit of thickening and growth and resilience therefore. We've seen that actually you can certainly get ligaments stronger. We've seen footballers that pre-season to end of season, their ACLs are thicker, which means they're stronger, which means they're more resilient and less likely to get injured. So don't worry if you're doing an exercise that I've given you or a physio has given you and you're like, I can't feel it in the muscle, or I'm getting no muscle soreness, or I don't feel it's doing anything. It is, because if any greater load and therefore strength ability would irritate your symptoms, then whatever that structure is has already been loaded to its capacity, which may well not be muscle in that case. So if you're causing a load on, say, a calf raise, and the Achilles tendon is the injury, and the Achilles tendon is starting to give you irritations beyond the next day, then obviously you've overloaded the strength capacity of that injury, or the tolerance of the nervous system to that injury. And therefore the key is you have to moderate that to the right level. You may well find that you could triple the load, quadruple the load from a muscle standpoint to make the muscle work hard, but you're not working to the muscle's capacity, you're working to the tendon's capacity or the nervous system's capacity to tolerate load of that tendon. The aim therefore is to build the strength of the body towards the activity that you're struggling with to build you back to normal function. And that isn't just about muscle. So therefore, if you are doing an exercise thinking, it's too easy, patients would come in sometimes and say, I did the exercises and I've been worse. And it's like, well, you did them too hard. And they're like, but I didn't. And it's like, the answer is yes, you did, because you worked above the tolerance of that structure or the strength capacity of that structure, which isn't muscle. So it's not about effort, it's about tolerance. And that's where there's this misconception or miscommunication sometimes. So I thought I'd do a video on this just to highlight that when I give you an exercise that I might call strengthening, it isn't strengthening necessarily in the classic sense of muscle tissue. It may be strengthening of tendon, ligament, cartilage, nervous system, whatever, to build your tolerance back to normal functional levels again. And then once the load obviously starts getting heavier because your tolerance to the tissue has built, then you'll find the muscle start working harder and you'll start building more strength in the muscle as well. Obviously everybody's different, and some people might feel the muscle working even within a load of a tendon or whatever. But that's just what I thought I'd discuss in this video, just to give some more clarity around when physios discuss strengthening, we aren't just talking about muscle. So anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time.